Go.
Go. Okay, I'm Luther and I'm gonna go through this mixer for Wings of Asia. This one is a stereo section, so we have connected this stereo channel left, right, out into this power amplifier over here. Alright, and the amplifier drives the two main speakers, which is on top of stage, the left and the right main speakers. So this is independently controlling just the two main speakers. Then we have given group 1 and 2 out here, 1 and 2. So to drive the side speakers, this goes to the second power amplifier and it drives the side speakers. So if you want to switch off, you just switch off, but we should leave it on, and then you can up and down the left and right speakers, the side field. Okay, and then for subwoofer, originally we had it under the stereo, but I felt that it was a bit boomy over here, so we should control the sub independently, only when maybe there's a dance or when a lot of people fill up the hall and we have clothes to absorb all the reflections from all the flat surfaces. Then we can control this individually. Now auxiliary 1, which is over here, you can see the first blue color button here. Aux 1 is controlling the stage monitor. This lets the musicians or the performers hear themselves. Aux 2 here is controlling the subwoofer. So every channel you can decide how much monitor, how much subwoofer you want. So aux 1 and 2, don't forget the master send is here. So you do have to up the master. Then you can up the individual ones. Now I have pressed the pre button here. That means aux 2 is no longer dependent on the fader, which means aux 2 can sound by itself without turning up the fader. If you press lift up this post, pre to post, then this aux 2 volume depends on the fader. It's called post fader or pre fader. Now pre is always better here because we want to independently control the subwoofer. Now let's go to the individual channels now. Now the first two here you see is pad and high pass filter. Now, you press a high pass filter when you are playing vocals because human voices seldom go below 80 Hz. So if by cutting away the 80 Hz, you prevent this all this low kind of feedback. You prevent this low end feedback. Now this pad and this gain, these two buttons control the source. So if you have a normal mic, like a dynamic microphone, then there is not much attenuation or not much power coming from the mic. It's purely passive, so you don't have to pad it, and your gain should just put at about 12 o'clock fine. Should you encounter, let's say, an instrument like a active bass guitar or a keyboard that's plugging in, then you should maybe pad it, because the keyboard, any devices with its own volume control, they are very powerful already. When they come in too harsh, they will hurt and they will clip the channel. So what we do is we press a pad inside there. So the pad will reduce this gain by 26 decibels, and that's quite a lot of gain reduction, so that this light here, peak light, will not appear. So anything that you put in and you put at normal settings and this peak light keeps showing, then you have to press the pad on. Okay, high pass filter, if you're playing, let's say, instruments or other things, you don't have to press the high pass filter, but when human vocals are involved, it's okay, it's good to press the high pass filter so that we prevent this low end feedback. Okay, now next, the gain at 12 o'clock. This is a compressor. Compressor is kind of protection, and also it rounds down sudden peaks in your voices or anything that you plug in. If you don't have a compressor, these channels generally, without a proper sound engineer, will blow within 6 months because the user doesn't know how to use and doesn't watch this peak coming up. So the compressor kind of prevents a peak from occurring. This peak is like a red alert button already, right? So compressor, how much compression you want. If you compress too much, sometimes the beautiful tones get compressed and it doesn't sound good anymore. But if you compress too little, sometimes if you scream and shout, it might break over that peak. So this is dependent on the user. If you can see that the musician's really hardcore already, like freaking out, we're going into a trance already, then you better compress him a lot. So over here, this is an equalizer. High, this is a sweepable mid. Because mid-range is such a wide range, they give you a choice of how much you want your mid-range to be, whether it's 250 Hz up to 5000 Hz. So generally, in this very echoey place, we're going to put our mids at about 250 to 500 Hz, because that's the most irritating kind of low mid sounds that's always reflected from all these walls. Now if you have a very dry place, then maybe you can cut the high mids, which is over here, about 2500. That would be a female vocal already. So I think mids, we're gonna just leave it at around this part, between 250 to 500 Hz. If you all have time, you can just go and download an iPhone app called spectrum analyzer and you will see what kind of sounds are at what kind of frequencies. But I mean, you all know aeroplanes are generally very, very low and many, many decibels. So low here, I also recommend reducing a little bit for most vocals. It's only when you play back your CD or your music, then maybe you can increase the lows to enhance the bass. But once you have a subwoofer up on aux2, you may not need to do that also. That's the aux2 subwoofer. aux1, once again, is sent to the musician over there. Normally, people have an EQ, a separate EQ when you send the aux to the EQ to the monitor. But you only have one monitor, and most EQs are 2 channels, so we didn't spec this in. And the space is quite large also, so that EQ is to tweak and prevent any feedback frequencies. But for now, I think this will do fine. Then here is the various other outputs you can send. We are using aux1 for monitor again, aux2 is for subwoofer, aux3 is empty, we are not using it. aux4 is the internal effects over here. So as we can see, just now I was going through reshuffle, this are the effects numbers. So let's see if we want to have reverb, a single delay or delay at number 11 or 12. Let's go to number 12. Number 12 here, I click, that's number 12. Now every channel will have number 12. Now I'm plugged in SM57, plugged into channel 1, number 12. This is the master. The parameter is minimum, maximum. The master send effects to every channel. Now every channel you still have an individual control. So now I'll turn up the top and I'll up this one here. So we can now hear, this is the main channel. Check 1, 2, this is the main channel. And this is the effects. Now if I turn on delay, here, check, hello? I must turn on this effects return. Just now you can't hear anything because the effects return is not on. Effects return, the master up. Check, hey, you, you. So that's delay. We reduce this again. This one can be sent to the stereo, sent to the group 1, 2, or if you have another pair of speakers somewhere, you can send out to group 3, 4. So you can choose whether you want to send a 1, 2, 3, 4 or stereo. And we try one more. Just now we tried the number 12 delay. Now we try the single one, 11. Press start. This one at the mid level. Up. Check. Hey. Asik. No. And you can see that with effects, delay, feedback also comes in. So that is pretty much the delay. And then the final one is the pan. Pan is for you to switch from the left or the right speaker. So if you want to make it like a Jimi Hendrix style where the drums also left come to right, and you want to have a guitarist or a conga player only on the right side, you can pan that particular channel just to the right. So now if I pan my mic to the right, you can hear that it is more focused towards that speaker. And I move to the left, you can see it's further out to the other speaker. That is generally the main functions of all the mono channels. Stereo channels are here. Stereo channels over here. Now this is phantom power. You do not switch this on unless you're using a condenser mic. A condenser mic is an active microphone with those hanging spider mount, because those are for recording. And also certain mics to mic up a group or choir, those thin pencil condensers. Then you turn on this phantom power because it supplies to all these channels. It supplies via the mic cable inside one of those lines. It supplies power supply 48 volts to the microphone. Therefore, it's called phantom because it cannot be seen. It is going through the microphone cable. Now, generally, we don't turn on this phantom power. And these stereo channels, 9, 10, 11, 12, you can put quarter-inch in. A keyboard or drum machine will have left, right. But you can also use it as number 9, mono alone, to plug in one guitar straight direct or one bass straight direct. And then 13 and 14 is generally for you to plug in CD, iPod, whatever. But if you see that now you're using 15 and 16 analog way, but 15 and 16 has an option for you to use digital. So if, for example, you have a laptop here and you want to play the laptop digitally through, all you need to do is to get a printer USB cable, plug USB inside, and then this channel becomes a digital channel. So you press over here line or USB, you press USB instead. And then on your computer under the sound settings, the output must be selected Yamaha MG XU. then it will be USB. But the USB sound will be much better than analog. Unfortunately, in this echoey place, you probably can't hear any difference. Over here, that's about it. And then this is effects written like we have seen just now already. This is the number of effects. And then this is the master for the aux. Monitor out. If you want to send some more outputs, this mixer has got many outputs. There's a monitor out here and headphone output over here. I think generally that's about it. Shafi can contact me if he wants more information. Thank you very much, gentlemen.